Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to traders around the world. Welcome to your North American Into the Open session here. And we've got a much larger audience overall joining us today. Looking very much forward to sharing insight with everyone here. If folks in all rooms are able to give me a quick good to go in the chat, that would be amazing. We should be all good to go. And I'm looking very much forward to sharing insight with you as we move through this trading morning. So I'm still waiting for a few more yeses to come in, but it looks like folks are all situated and good to go. So I'm very much looking forward to navigating markets here with everyone. And we've got a nice, large audience joining us today. And I look forward to sharing insight with everyone on all ends. Rob sends his love. He's back to back in meetings today with firms, a few important ones. And he's looking forward to coming in and sharing insight in the days to come, probably tomorrow. But he wanted me to definitely send you a big hello and lots of love. And of course, wish everyone an incredible trading day overall. So let's get the session started over here. I'm looking forward to sharing insight with everyone here, and I'm looking forward to providing that insight to everyone. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is up and ready to go. And is there audio issues? Everything good with the audio on your end? Let me know, and we'll go from there. So I'm just waiting for a couple of good to goes in the chat, and then of course we shall get started. Looks like it's all good to go. And audio is good. Audio is not good. You let me know, folks. Mike, are you saying audio is good? All right, awesome. Okay, looks like we're good to go, folks. So welcome, everybody. I hope folks are doing well. I look very much forward to sharing insight with you and, of course, trading the market with you. Before we go any further, everything that I do and say here is for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. I'm not a registered financial advisor or representative. You must consult yours before making any trading decisions. Trading involves risk, not just reward. Risk of loss. Trade with money you can wholly afford to lose. When I trade, it's always in line with my risk trading plan. That's unique to me. Get yours with your registered financial advisor. Whether I'm talking about past trades taken, doing live trades in front of you, coming up with projections for future potential trades, whether I'm doing so with respect to a live cash account, a demo account, a prop account, it's all done for education and insight purposes only. And when I poll you in the chat and I give you an average response back to that poll, the sentiment there is not necessarily indicative of the sentiment of the entire group, just those responding. I don't audit the chat, so do take that stuff as anecdotal. All right, I think we are all up and ready and good to go, folks. So I'm looking very much forward to navigating markets here with you. Let me just grab that market page in front of you. And what we've got happening today is we've got this incredible group of traders from FFF joining us today. And I look very much forward to sharing insight with you. And of course, sharing insight with all logged in over here. Now, for those in the ATR looking for the summary, it's going to come a little later on today. For those listening in, in other areas, I do very much want to get your insight and kind of get an idea of how things are going here. So it looks like I have to change a setting or so. It looks like, and I might have to do that right now. So just bear with me for 1 sec, folks. Okay, so we're just going to take a quick pause here, and I'll be right back here with you. get going over here. Looks like we're on all of the right places, so I'm looking very much forward to navigating things here with you. Let's get going. So I'm still waiting for a couple of chat responses here from the FFF folks, but it looks like they're all good to go. Looks like everyone in Zoom and everywhere folks are seemingly good to go. Okay, that's amazing. So I think we're all situated. Now that I've got over the tech hurdle, let's get right into things in terms of where markets are going. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Ziad. I'm sure you can see that on screen over there. And I've been trading for a while here. So I'm going to try to figure that out again. It looks like we've still got a couple of tech hurdles. So hang on one second here. I'm going to fix that and be right back with you again, folks. Apologies for the fits and starts. All right. All right, folks, it looks like I am back up and running. Apologies for the tech issues that I'm just trying to get over a hurdle here. It's kind of like conducting an orchestra with so many different things to make sure that we get streamed right out to you properly and in good quality. So it looks like we are good to go. I'm going to get back on that conversation of where things are at a market level. So you're looking at the S&P E-minis. It's the chart that I'm moving around on screen right now. The S&P E-minis benchmark, we've made our lows 75.13, we've reversed back up, and one of the things that I can just kind of give you some insight on right up front is that you're in a market where everything is interconnected, and if you look at the things that tug at the market, it can give us a bit of a clue as to directionality. So we know the euro is trying to bounce, keep the dollar down. We know that precious metals are corroborating that. They're moving up, quite a bit at this moment. Oil is down, and we're dealing with a macro context in this market overall where U.S.-Iran is calmed down. Things are trying to move forward. FOMC is in the rear view mirror, and we're in a marketplace where trading the long side, bullish long side trades is what we're looking for. So I'm looking for the primary market to come up and bust up above the 75.13 area, 75.81 area, right in this territory where the blue line is. And that would open the door for more, but for higher highs. The Nasdaq's already leading. So the Nasdaq at this moment in time is currently up 0.6%. It is coming up to and has already been through a key level, and that level is around the 30,820, 825 area. Above there, the door opens for a rise back up to the highs that we had on the 3rd of June, or for example, higher. Now, the market's just started trading. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and zoom in on the lead market, which is the NASDAQ, and we're going to look for trades over there. So let's zoom in and take a look at that together at this moment in time. So you've got a 1-minute chart of the NQ on screen. There's some indicators on price. I'm just going to make this full screen over here for you. And the indicators that are on price at this moment in time are Rob's Champion Trend Pack and a triple S indicator, which is a simplified or super swing signal on an intraday, intra-week basis. So we've got this big thrust up. We're well above that 30,825 line. I want to see if there's any other resistive structures that we're coming up against using other time frames like the 5-minute chart. And I'm not seeing anything at this stage. I'm seeing open skies above us, but I'm seeing a very expansive initial move. Is it appropriate to look for a long right away? Now, I'm going to be trading my FFF prop account in front of you here, and I'm looking forward to, finding that choice moment where I can get in and ride the move for a little while here. Now, it's really early, but we are seeing that risk on still remain in play. I've got the double green dots in play from the triple S toolkit. I've got Rob's speed lines configured bullishly. I've, of course, got a champion trend buy zone flickering on, flickering off. It doesn't repaint if it stays on, but it needs to stay on in order to encourage that buy decision at this stage. So bear with me for just 1 second over here. I just want to double check all of my metrics here. I'm seeing the primary market blast off above the 75.80 area. So it's well above. And we can take a quick look at that right now because the NASDAQ at this moment in time is giving me a pump and dump. I'm not ready to trade that. I'm going to take that primary market, the S&P E-minis. I'm going to break it down into a 5-minute chart basis so you can see that we're coming up through a major resistive line, but we've got volume profile resistance above us that we're finding it harder to chew through. The line seems to be at 75.93. Let's go and take a look at whether or not the NASDAQ can encourage pulling us up above there. Here's the NASDAQ E-minis. It's above multiple volume points of control. It's coming up to another weekly pivot level. And I'm looking for an opportunity to take on a long side trade after this little mess right out of the open has cleared itself off. So I've got a buy signal, a sell signal, and I've got price now trying to come back up above resistance, but it's not there just as of yet. Now, for the folks that are listening in across the world over here, for the FFF folks, I want to make sure I give you some love over here and you let me know in your Discord chat if the way that I'm speaking to you about the market right now is starting to resonate with you. You can do that with a lucky number 7 in the chat. Share that with me in that chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it right off the bat, because I want to make sure that I'm giving you information that actually becomes transactable. This market has turned right back around. I'm not ready to short it with the backdrop that we're in, but I could scalp a short. Now, scalping, not necessarily something that I want to start off my first trade with. I'd rather get something that I can ride for at least that 20 seconds. So I'm going to so thank you for that, folks. So I'm seeing some lucky number sevens come in the chat everywhere, actually. So I appreciate that. I'm going to flip it to a 5-minute view over here because I want to see what kind of support structures we're coming down into or breaking below. This multi-time frame approach gives me a good idea of, where we're really going. I'm looking at a 1-hour chart right now. We are coming down, but we're still in a buy signal state on that 1-hour time frame. And that buy signal state that we're in can very easily resume. It's a champion trend buy signal. It's a triple S buy signal. We've got the moving support and resistance channel still sloping up. The champion cross buy zone still in place. And a 1-hour chart tends to project its signal out 3 to 6 hours. So it's the day trader's boss at the end of the day. The 5-minute chart tends to project out 20 to 90 minutes. It's obviously not looking good. We're eroding, obviously, the support structures that you can see price coming down below, but it's not game over just as of yet, right? The 1-hour chart's telling us right now, hey, hold on a sec. We may be able to bounce right back up. We've simply come to the slow speed line, which is this magenta line over here. We've perforated and bounced right back up above that fast speed line as well. So I'm going to go back to that 5-minute chart right now. I want to see which line will make the most sense to come back up above that could support alongside trade. I don't want to take it while we're in the channel. I'd rather take it when we're above the top of the channel and ideally above the speed lines. 30,832 seems to be the more clean area that I could try the trade on. Because right now we're in the obvious. It's in a sell signal state on a 1-minute time frame. It's in a buy signal state on a 1-hour time frame. And the 5-minute chart at this moment in time is still in a buy signal state, but it's been damaged. So I want to see that damage really go away. I want to see price action get above that 836 area. And I want to see if I can take a trade above that area, 836 to 848. Could I try a very quick one over here? I could, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold it very long. And when I'm trading, if I've got a 1-minute chart that's in a sell signal, there should obviously be some caution here. But if it does something incrementally bullish, like break above the channel, I have the opportunity to take the trade, and I'm waiting for that right now. My finger is hovering over the trigger. I'm waiting for a bullish cross to happen on my triple S indication over there. And I think I'm going to try one as soon as I see that crossover happen in the subchart. And a green triangle should flash on the screen, again, if the market makes it available. If the market doesn't make it available, so be it. That's okay. This dump and pump is not something that I necessarily need to trade. There are going to be other trades during the day. I'm going to do a little cycling through the hourly chart. Bullish signal state, incremental bullish signal seems to be coming in play. The 5-minute chart, bullish signal state above the speed lines. Champion cross dot at on the bottom of the main charts coming back into play. I've got the double green dots from the triple S indications there. And the 1-minute chart is still the holdout. So it's the leading or the bleeding edge, and it seems to be bleeding still, not leading enough. I need to see it above effectively 30,878 to fire off my first trade there, and I'm waiting patiently for that to happen. Now, for the folks that are trading live right now, I'm wishing you all the best. I hope it's going well for you. And I'm going to start getting in right above that champion trend sell zone. So I'm in a trade right now. Okay. I don't have a stop on it at this stage. I'm riding it. I'm going to manually exit if it chops the bar more than half. But I'm going to wait patiently to see if I can get something out of it. We are in a buy signal state, right? The hourly chart's in a buy. It's pushing up. We are, of course, stretched. 5-minute chart's in a buy, trying to retest the highs. And that 1-minute chart's the chart I'm trading. The trade seemingly is profit positive, but it's not giving me a whole bunch. You know what? I'm going to take my first trade, which is a profitable trade, and it was a whopping $65 of profit. Now, what I want to make sure that I do over here is do a quick little review of what just happened. Okay, so we had a dump and then pump out of the gates. I chose a very small spot to get into a trade, and that trade can still run at this stage. I'm not in it right now. What I want to do at this moment in time is understand from those that are listening in all different areas, if they saw how the trade came together. And I think the best way for me to get a response back from you is a lucky number 7. So you feel free to let me know with a lucky number 7 in the chat if that trade made sense to you. Okay, so to all of the amazing folks at FFF, all of the folks in the AT, all the folks listening in everywhere, I really do hope that you're enjoying the methodical approach. Now, of course, coulda, shoulda, woulda, bought at the bottom and rode it all the way up and made a whole gob more, of course, but that's not the approach. So I'm still looking for, a very, and Mark Z, you're saying the sound is still bad. How's the sound, everyone? If the sound is good, just type the letter Y in the chat. Let me know. So Mark, it might be on your end. It might be on your end because I'm getting a letter Y from everyone that's kind of listening in right now. So it seems like it's fine. All right. Emmy, I think it was Emmy. You're looking for the screen. You should still see it in front of you. All right, folks. Looks like that's being taken care of. Okay. All right. So back to the focus here, right? There's lots going on in a market, and it's a little noisy this morning in terms of making sure that everyone's in the right seat in the right place. So apologies for that. It'll smoothen out over the next coming days. What I want to do right off the bat now is find another trade. I've got on a 1-minute chart, champion trend, triple S, a wealth signal, and a breakout forecaster, and I've got the double green dots. So I'm taking the trade above the speed lines here, and I'm looking for price to stay above the speed lines. If we come back down below the speed lines, I'm going to have to get out of the way of that trade. So I got into a trade. It's seemingly challenged. It's slowing down. Should I keep the risk on the table or should I get out of the way? I'd rather get out of the way and then get back in if I see a higher high present. So if I see a higher high present, then I'm looking for a move. All right. Okay. All right. So it looks like we're good. I'm just reading some comments in from the chat right now. Make sure that folks are okay. And it looks like everyone's okay, which is good. I'm happy to hear that. That's good. And I hope that you're enjoying your experience so far. So there we go. Okay. So let's get right back into this now. I took a bad trade over there, right? So I had a good trade. I was trying to capture the up, but we started to slow down. And one of the things that I can demonstrate over here is that slowdown that happened is apparent when you look at that fast speed line and you look at that slow speed line. Obviously, you can look at price flattening out in and of itself, but we've got some incremental bullish signals. But the momentum on the heels of those signals is not strong enough. There's compression between those speed lines, and that compression between the speed lines brings out a little more risk. That doesn't mean we can't get started and go again. If I take a look at the NASDAQ on that 5-minute chart, I'm still seeing a bullish setup. We're in a bullish signal state. I've got the fast speed line above the slow, but price is coming back to back test it as support. So if it back tests it as support and bounces up, okay, that's something good. But if it breaks below it, like it's perforating right now, around the 30,850 area, we can see downside into the channel. And the top of the channel is sitting at around 30,820. The very bottom of the channel is sitting at around 30,780. I don't want to get caught in that mess. Okay, I don't want to get caught in that mess. Now, of course, I can switch to trading something like the ES while the NASDAQ sorts itself out because it's having some very large, expansive moves. It's egging on the ES to have large and expansive moves as well. I want to get straight the 1 hour, 5-minute, and 1-minute signals, 1 hour charts in a buy signal state. Price is still holding above the fast speed line. Double green dots are in place. I'm still in a risk on state right now. I'm looking at that triple S indicator in the subchart with the triple S line coming through the center of the channel, which is a bullish signal in general. We're in a bullish signal state from the indicator. That happened down over here, and we're seeing something incrementally bullish happen. So I'm still looking forward to higher highs in the market. Now, we know we're coming up towards all-time highs. So we know that there's going to be some stress in this area, and there's going to be a little bit of a lack of buyers probably. The best way for me to kind of show this to you is just bring it up on a plain clothes chart over here. Okay, and we can go back, of course, and take a look at the highs on the 3rd of June, which are a little further back. right in and around over here. We are not that far away from the intercession all-time highs made on the 3rd of June. So we've effectively got, a market that is trying to come up, retag those highs, but we're seeing a little supply or a little distribution at this stage. Now, the last trade I took didn't work out very well because we are coming up to a territory where there's a lack of buyers, all-time highs, and we're starting to come down again. Could this be a move that I could take advantage of on the short side? I've now flipped. You can see how wild the action has been on that 1 minute time frame since the open of trade. We had an initial partial buy, it flipped to a sell, it flipped back to a buy, and now it's flipping down into a sell signal state. And I've got the triple S indicator on that 1 minute chart in a sell signal state, but there's some fighting going on here, right? The 1 hour chart, which is the boss, is still in a buy signal state. And then you've got the bleeding or leading edge moving into a sell signal state. Not a great time to trade. We want alignment between the two in order to see this thing move, and move. I do hope that I see lots of folks kind of writing in right now, letting me know that they're getting the analysis, they're understanding what's happening. But let's get down to transaction at the end of the day. I want to take another trade, but I don't want to take a trade that has a low probability. I want to line up with the undercurrent. The major undercurrent is still up, but it's up into all-time highs, and it's eroding at this moment. That's the 1 hour chart. The 5 minute chart, we're seeing a sell signal build at this moment. You've got that triangle on the current bar. The bar's live, but it's going to end in a few seconds right now. There it is. Next bar's opened up, and we're getting an opposite signal. So is this a great consistent moment for trading? No, this is a moment where we're probably going to see the chop end up breaking out or breaking down. It's one or the other that I'm going to be looking for here. Right now, the 1 minute chart, sell signal is still in place, but we're seeing price try to come back up into the falling moving support and resistance channel. That's the 3 lines over here. And you can see that they're green, and then they go into magenta territory. When we've got something called technical damage, where the technical signals are less effective, the channel will change colors. And it's changed into a magenta color since effectively 9:42 a.m. Eastern time, which means we can still trust technicals, but we have to expect the efficacy to be lower. Okay, so it's not as effective. So at this moment in time, I'm in a sell zone on a 1 minute chart. I've got the champion trend pack, the champion trend indicator, which is that sell zone plaque and line. I've got the champion cross zone, which is that opaque zone in the background here. I can highlight them so you can see it. That's the champion cross zone, that little red opaque zone in the background. The champion trend is that plaque over there. The triple S indicator that I'm highlighting right there has got triangles and dots, and we're on a down triangle. We've got double red dots in play right now. We can, of course, see volume in the subchart down over there. So you've got the indications in place for a sell signal state on a 1 minute chart. You've got the 5 minute chart trying to build itself back up into a buy signal state, but it needs to get above 30,845-ish, 850-ish. And you've got the 1 hour chart still in a buy signal state, right? With incremental buy signals coming into play. So I still like the idea over here that we've got a market that's configured for up. We're moving up into all-time highs, which makes it a lot more challenging. But I'm going to be looking for anything that breaks out above 30,856. I might be able to try to jump into a trade there, because even if I'm in a sell signal state on that 1 minute chart, the 5 minute chart's in a buy, the hourly chart's in a buy, and if the 1 minute chart does something incrementally bullish, I can use that to trigger the trade that I want to take, which is a risk on up, up and away trade on the NASDAQ. Now, again, if you're following along and you're tracking along with what I'm doing right now, let me know with a letter T. You can you just type the letter T in the chat and share with me if you're tracking along with what's happening right now. All right, I'm getting very close. My finger's on the trigger. Button is depressed. I've unclenched it. I'm in the trade. I want to see if we can break right through. Looks like we have. Looks like it's starting to get more profitable. Of course, I want to ride this move. I'm going to keep trying to ride it, and ride it, and ride it, and ride it until I get $205 of profit off of that trade. Now, that was an initial foray into the move that I want to continue to trade on the long side over here. Now, for the folks, folks listening in over here, one quick question. Now, I know that there's many folks here that have engaged with me for a long period of time. I know there's many folks here that have seen me for or maybe listening in to me for the very first time. What I want to understand again, as I continue to, explain what I'm trying to do, how I'm trying to find the trade, what are the tools that I'm using that are giving me structures and signals on screen to make those decisions. I want to make sure that it's digestible. The hardest part about trading is avoiding the noise and focusing in on the insight that actually becomes transactable. And that's not always clear all the time. Right. So what I'm really looking for from you, and I see lots of folks making comments already, letting me know that hey, they like the analytics, they like the trading behind it. That's amazing. What I want to make sure is that it's digestible for you. So if it is, now's the time for another lucky number 7 in the chat. If how I'm delivering the information is digestible, if you need it to be slowed down a bit, or if you need, some space in between trades, if the market makes it available. Right now, I think I'm going to be jumping into another long side trade. I'm waiting for the triple S indicator in the subchart to perforate the center of the channel and get above the champion trend sell zone trail line up right around the 30,908 area. Now, keep in mind, we are very close to all-time highs, okay? But we are trying to push up right through it. Remember, the bigger time frames are giving me what I need. I've got that 1 hour chart, buy signal state. 5-minute chart, tentative buy signal state after a lot of chop and slop with a very wide range where it's very easy to get destroyed, right? So I want to avoid that, and I want to pick the spots that I know I can reliably have a high probability entry, and I want to find as many high probability entries for you, of course, as possible during the time that we have together this morning. And I see a couple of folks saying slow down a little bit. And I see a few questions coming in here. How you use the indicator? Oh, okay, sure. So I see a question from Omsaha. I'm probably butchering that. My apologies. For those who are not familiar with the indications, I'm not going to educate everything about each detail, but I'm going to give you the narrative behind what structures I'm looking at and how I'm going to trigger the trade. And then as we spend time together, of course, I'm going to explain each tool in detail for you. And of course, I'll make it very clear what indicators I'm using again. You can actually see it on the top left-hand side of the screen. So I'm using Rob Hoffman, 37-time International Domestic Real Money Trading Champions Toolkit. Right here on Wealth Charts, the Champion Trend Indicator and the Champion Trend Pack comes with 5 indications within it. They work together in a sequence, actually. And the Champion Trend is kind of the granddaddy. It's that plaque, the buy zone or sell zone plaque. The Champion Cross is that green, more opaque zone in the background, or red opaque zone with the dot at the bottom of the main chart. Wealth Signal is also part of the Champion Trend Pack. So are range breakers, which I think we have one a little earlier. You see that little cyan ball underpriced there. And then we've got something called breakout forecasters, which are dashes underneath. Now that's throwing a lot at you. As well on chart, I've got the triple S indication. So there's a lot going on. What I want you to really focus in on is how I'm using the colors, the shapes, the resistive structures, the breaks above, the continuation, the momentum to help me with decision making overall. So let's get right into it right now again. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just tell you where we're at. We're seeing liftoff again above the speed lines. Triple S is trying to cross through the center. We're breaking through potentially the sell zone trail line. I'm looking at taking a trade above that sell zone trail line. My finger's on the trigger, button is depressed, but I haven't unclenched it just yet. I know the 1 hour chart and the 5-minute chart are lined up in a buy signal state, and I'm waiting for the leading edge now to break out above a resistive structure. And that structure, again, is the sell zone trail line sitting at 30,908 effectively, just a tick underneath that. So hovering over the buy button, I don't have it clenched down anymore. I'm waiting patiently at this moment in time to see if we can actually push right through it, and I can take another profitable trade live in front of you. The closer we get to it, the more I want to get ready. So as you can tell, I'm completely discretionary directional trader, right? You don't see me using a limit order to get in, and you see me manually getting in. What my role is a role where I want to give you context in the market, educate, and I want to provide as many credible entry opportunities as possible. How long you choose to ride those entry opportunities, of course, up to the independent trader. We perforated it. I got in. I'm not seeing follow through directly, so I'm quite worried about the trade, because right now, if I look at what's going on, I'm seeing it, implode and go back down towards the trend. There we go. Let's see if it holds. It's holding. It's holding its initial test. So it hit the speed lines, but now I'm starting to see the triple S indicator come into play on a sell side. I have to get out of the way. There's no choice at that stage. I had to get out of the way at that moment in time, because we effectively came down right below the speed lines. We tried to perforate. I found an entry opportunity. We didn't follow through. Is it likely to follow through? My answer is yes, it's likely to. The hourly chart is still in a buy signal state. The 5-minute chart is in a buy signal state, but it's eroding, right? We've got a green triangle. We've got those double green dots flashing on. The channel is sloping up, but remember, the channel is in magenta. What does that mean? Well, technical efficacy is a little lower. We're in a bit of a technically damaged moment. Now, I'm going to just flip screens here very quickly over here and show you where we are on the plain clothes charts. Let me get that up on your screen right now. And here it is. There it is. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is, again, just the NASDAQ. Okay, it's on a 5-minute chart. It's on its own. We don't have anything else except for some levels identified here. We've got volume profile, which lets me know how many contracts exchange hands at what price level. And they come with these volume points of control lines. So I've got a bunch of nested histograms in here. And I've, of course, got the weekly pivot levels in here. So it seems like we're trapped between a weekly pivot line around the 30,920 area, and of course a volume profile level, which is a volume point of control line sitting at around 30,820. So it's this 100-point range that we seemingly are trapped in. We did have a more expansive range, but we've now graduated above that VPOC. So we're holding in this area. What I want to see is action that is consistent with trending up. So I've got a low, a higher low, a series of higher lows. Technically, this is a higher low because we have made a higher high. This is still an uptrend, but it's an uptrend into all-time highs. So not necessarily a place where I'm going to be jumping up and down, comfortable saying, hey, all is going to be well, and let's look for up and away without too many other questions. No, I think that we're going to have some challenges over here. So we have to pick our spots much, much more carefully, as we can tell. So I'm going to take that chart off screen. I'm going to bring back the chart that we were working with. And this, again, is just the NASDAQ on a 1-minute time frame basis. Just made it full screen there for you. And what I'm looking for is the same trade that I took earlier, but now we're coming at it again, potentially off of a higher low. So above 30,910-ish, 920-ish, as we just evaluated with that weekly pivot line, I'm interested in trying the trade again. I don't want to take it here as it's building up to it. I want to see if I can get it through that resistive structure. How are folks doing on your end? Let me know. Feel free to throw a $sign in the chat if it's going well for you at this stage. I'm waiting for my next entry opportunity. I'm trying to curate it right now. Again, above 910, 920, 30,910, 920 is what I'm looking for. We're getting closer and closer. My finger's on the trigger. The button is depressed. I'm really waiting for this impulse to buy to push us up right through it. We've nudged through it again. This time I'm giving it a little more time before I get in. I've got an incremental signal. Tentatively, I'm trying the trade again. So it's the same trade and it's the same reaction that I'm getting. But this time we're coming from a higher low. The spring is coiled up a little bit more, but it's still not working. So my finger's on the trigger to get out if this does not give me what I need at the end of the day. So we've opened the door. We've opened it twice. This time, I'm looking for us to walk through it and get something delivered that is actually fairly juicy, i.e. a higher high. And we're starting to see some profit positivity. I want to see it ride a little bit more, not fall over. Let's see if we can get it riding up through the highs. If it starts coming down, I'm going to have to probably take a scratch or a little loss. Let's keep it going. We're sitting up. It's profit positive. It's holding the line. It's barely now holding it. It's getting a little sketchy at this stage. So just give it a second. Let's see if it can hold that line, the entry line or the speed line just underneath it. And it looks like it's still working. So let's see. I'm waiting to see if I can get a lift off over here. It's certainly got the breach above the level. It's profit positive. Let's see if we can get a little bit more than the highs. I don't want to get slammed down by distribution at the local high that was made just after 9:30 a.m. I want to see this push right through. This can become a multi-hundred, maybe even closer to $400 or $500 type trade. It's a one contract trade. It's up $300 right now. I'm waiting. It's up $420. I'm taking my $400 of profit. Thank you very much. Right now, can I ride this a little longer? Well, it's interesting. The role that I'm in over here is I'm trying to identify as many entry opportunities that are credible, that are consistent with the aligned signals. And what I've got happening right now, which one of my friends has mentioned to me again, and thank you for that, George. The very simple message is when we get to the hour change, sometimes this happens at the half hour change, mechanical things can happen, counterintuitive things can happen. So being flat on the hour change, especially if there's data, which we don't have today, I believe, can become an important golden nugget to keep with you. You got to know your way around the neighborhood, and it's a complicated neighborhood that's usually looks like a dark alley with the street light kind of shining on and shining off. But it's an alley that we have to walk down sometimes. So right now I'm in wait mode, and I'm waiting right now. To folks who are asking, can I share the workspace and all that kind of stuff? Absolutely. Put your admin questions in there. I'm going to get ready to do that probably later in the session when we have a little bit more downtime and a little more Q&A time. So are folks able to take that, the folks that did try it, were you able to take something out of the market on that last setup, similar to what I did? It looks like I'm seeing folks say yes. So I'm just looking through all the chats right now and trying to figure out where folks are at. It looks good from some of the responses that I'm getting. And let's see. So, it's a pretty clean look that you're looking at right now, right? Where we're looking at, two sets of indications on price. Yes, it's somewhat involved. And if you're not used to seeing, indications layered on price, it can become noisy, but it's just like another language. It's just like reading another language. And what I hope is that this language becomes one that, is fairly easy to kind of digest and becomes second nature in time. So I see questions on, gold and tradable. Yeah, gold is tradable. I'm not going to be trading gold today. I'm going to focus on the NQ and the ES, and I'm looking for my next entry. I'm seeing some pinching in the speed lines right now, which is somewhat concerning to me. That's not really ideal. It could be consolidating in a bull flag formation, getting ready to go. But we've got some good alignment, right? We've got the hourly chart in a buy signal state. Pretty much all of the tools are firing off saying, yeah, it's good to keep going over hours. We've got the 5-minute chart, which projects out 20 to 90 minutes in a buy signal state, and it's still trying to hold its own. And the 1-minute chart at this moment in time is trying to push up. Okay, let's see. So I'm still looking through the chat right now and trying to see what folks are saying. There's lots of messages coming in all at the same time. So I'm just getting used to that at this moment. But it looks like folks did well on that last move. So I'm happy to hear that. Let's wait for the next move. Could it be the push up right here? Double green dots are in play. Triple S is in the upper half. The red line is in the upper half of the 4-quadrant channel. All of that's good. I think I'm going to have to wait for the obvious here, which is push up above the high if I want to take a trade. So right now, I'm not willing to do so. If the indications start to get hot and heavy again and that impulse to buy starts to show itself, sure. But if I've got my indications giving me a cooling off dot like that blue dot, that we saw in the last closed 1 minute bar and the one that's tentatively on the current 1 minute bar, no thanks. I'm not interested in taking the trade. So I'm waiting patiently at this moment, not interested in taking the trade until I see a good reason to. Not seeing one yet, so I'm waiting. Now, for folks who are, so I'm seeing some questions come into the chat. So Om Saha, I'm not sure what you're asking, but feel free to put your question in again, and it'll be my pleasure to try to answer it. But I want to keep focused on finding the next great trading entry. You know, that at the end of the day is why we're here. Right, we're here to make great decisions using great tools, and keep it as focused on the transactability of the analytics as much as possible. We can analyze things to death, and how many folks have been in that spot where while we're waiting for this to mature, you kind of squint your eyes at one point of the analysis and just say, I'm just going to do it. Right, that's what I want to avoid. I want to be I don't want to be a bull. I'm not bullish. I'm not bearish. I don't want to be a bull. I don't want to be a bear. I just want to see what's there. What's there right now is a market that's pushed up, that's in a buy signal state, that's sitting in a good spot to carry on higher. But I need to know that this consolidation process is truly akin to a bull flag and can give us a move that carries on the rise. Now, remember, if we're rising, well, I'll take you back to a daily chart over here. If we're rising, we're coming up the highs that were made right over here on the NQ. Okay, so we're almost at them. We're almost at those all-time highs. This is not a moment where one wants to turn around and go, oh, let's just assume it breaks through. It's trying. Okay, let's let it mature. Let's let it breathe for a little while and see if it can actually get back up above roughly 950, 955. And Brian B., you're absolutely right. Patience is a virtue. And I like how you put it in trading too. I think especially in trading, it makes a big difference. But yes, I agree. In most areas in life, patience is definitely a virtue. And hey there, Sunil, and everyone logging in. I see some folks saying hi and jumping in there. So hello to you as well. All right. So was it a good decision to wait, folks? Right. This is the question. Was it a good decision to wait? You can let me know in the chat and type the letter Y in the chat if it makes sense to you. Right. My goal over here is to navigate to the point where I've got the highest probability moment to enter. And what I can surmise right now with the aligned buy signal state from the 1 hour to the 5 minute to the 1 minute time frame is that we're in the right spot. We just need to see the door to the rooftop garden party open, right? We've knocked on the door, right? It's somewhere between 30,940 and 955. We're coming up to try to knock on it again, but if no one answers the door, we're not walking up onto the rooftop garden, and we ain't going to be part of that party. That's for sure. I want to make sure that we're actually invited in with the door wide open, fingers on the trigger, buttons depressed. I'm not unclenching it. I see price getting closer and closer to opening that door. I'm getting ready for another trade. So I'm getting ready for it. I'm not in it. I'm waiting. And there is a lot of waiting and trading to find that right spot. I don't have a good reason for entry. I want to make sure that I don't fumble the ball. So I'm backing off the buy button, unclenching my click button so I don't misfire, right? The closer it gets back up to about 950, I'm interested in getting in. Now, this is a moment where having a limit order in above the entry line may become valuable because it could just end up bursting through this little coiling action that it's giving us right now. Now, I'm not going to put a limit order in, but if I was to, it would be probably north of 30,960, 965. I want to make sure that it's pushing right through and continuing. But I'm going to do this manually, which is, again, something I challenge myself with each day, and I share with you each day in my analytics and in my trading. So let's see if we've got something good coming. I'm going to just do a quick scan over here of the other time frames. Looks like we're okay right now. I'm finger on the trigger, buttons depressed, getting ready again. It's trying to push up. And what's happened? What's changed? I've got the double green dots underneath price. That's from the triple S tool. I've got champion trend, champion cross, all green. I've got the fast speed line, which is blue or cyan, above magenta, which is just underneath price at this stage. And I've got price trying to push through the high that happened just before 10 a.m. So now we're coming up to it. The line's almost there. I'm almost ready to enter, and I'm in at this moment in time. The initial move did not result in profit positivity, which is not what I want to see. I want to see it push right through. And I'm not seeing that. I'm going to get out of the way. Why? Because it's trying to test me. It's testing that the door's kind of cracked open. The door is ajar. I want the door to be an open door, not ajar. I want it to be wide open. I want to be able to walk right through it above that 30,955, 960 area. So I'd rather not sit with, a conditional moment. I want to see a clear signaled moment. So I've got aligned signals. I'm pushing through again. I'm trying it one more time. I want to see if we can directly walk through because we've pushed through the highs. I'm not seeing that happen. And I'm seeing the bar compress. If it comes down below that fast speed line, which is already perforated, I'm getting the heck out of the way. Right now, I'm holding on to the trade. It's gone profit positive. I'm looking for it to follow through and continue, and continue. I want to see it continue. I've got some profit positivity of about $30. Well, that pays for lunch. Okay, I'll take that for now, but I'm not seeing it blast off, which largely makes sense. Look, we're not in a marketplace where one could construe price as valuable. All right. At this stage, my question to you is, how are you doing on your side? If things are being digested and you're understanding how I'm communicating, if your trading's going well, all of that kind of stuff, give me a lucky number 7 in the chat. Share that with me right now. I'm hopeful that folks are following along, number one, are able to understand as you're following along. And then I'm trying to bring myself, right? I can't tell you what to do. I'm not an advisor. I can share what I'm doing and I can educate along the way and give you some insight along the way. So I'm seeing lots of number 7s coming in through the chat from folks. So I really appreciate that. That's amazing. Looks like folks are digesting things and it's working out. So that's good. I'm just trying to look through all the chats right now and make sure that folks are all good. Looks like you're all good. Let's continue onwards. So again, I'm hunting for the next long side trading entry. We're above, I think that we've opened the door and we've got 1 foot on the rooftop. We can hear the music. We can see the refreshments. But for some reason, we're having some struggles getting into the real party. And I think that the room might be full, right? The rooftop might be full. There might not be as much room. Another way of me saying we're near all-time highs and there's not as many buyers necessarily, but we just poked out to a slightly higher high and whipped back down. I'm really seriously considering whether this is worthwhile to try again. I would need to see, we seem to have got 1 foot in the door and we're having a struggle to get the full body through the door right now. It's consolidating again. And I think that this is actually quite normal when you're dealing with, of course, a market near all-time highs. Now, to just give you some context while this is maturing, okay, just give you some context over here while that's maturing. What I want to do is effectively bring up, apologies. That's my bad there. Lots of little templates that I'm kind of going through over here. I want to see if I can get the right one back up for you. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it should work. There it is. Oh, lovely. The rapid pace at which Wealth Charts has developed and it's provided so much makes things so easy, which I really do enjoy. It makes the analytics part so easy. You can just bring everything up right away. Now, one of the things that I wanted to look at was the S&P E-minis on that 5-minute chart, the primary market. These two markets work with each other, right? The NASDAQ is more dominated by Mag 7 stocks and the FANG gang, if you will. Those issues are present in the ES as well, but the ES also has other sectors that are not as well represented within the NASDAQ. We'll call that the everything else market. So is the everything else market trying to come in and actually support, the NASDAQ as it's having some struggles trying to get onto that rooftop garden and party with everyone in there, because that room seems to be full. So I'm seeing both of them move consistently. They're not moving in different directions, which very clearly means it really is just about performance on the surface. So I'm just going to look at performance on the surface here and try to figure things out. About 0.5% up on the ES on a day over day change basis, about 0.9% up on the NQ. And I'm looking at daily charts right now. We've popped through that pivot level on the NQ, opening the door for more. What about on the ES? Did we pop through a pivot level? Well, we popped through the top lip of the balance area, but we're moving into all of this congestion here. So I don't think that we're going to see a lot of extra support coming from the S&Ps in the areas that are not as well represented within the NASDAQ. So during that little discussion over here, what I've determined is I cannot lean on the S&P E-minis coming in to pick up the slack for the NASDAQ when the NASDAQ is having a little trouble continuing to rise. So right now it's having a little trouble. We are looking at a 1 minute chart. It is the leading or the bleeding edge. We just to center ourselves, the 1 hour time frame is still in a buy signal state. It's a robust one. We're above the speed lines. We don't have technical damage. We're in a champion trend buy zone, champion cross buy zone. We've got breakout forecasters, wealth signal, the triple S indicator, the triple S line itself. That red line is like the soldiers. The soldiers are above the center of the channel. They've started to go into, the upper half of the channel is, you can think of that as enemy territory. The lower half is homeland. The soldiers have moved through the enemy gates. They're still having some struggle trying to get through, that entire quadrant 3, but they're in the right spot. So that's a good thing that we are in that buy signal state. And we know a 1 hour chart tends to project its signal out about 3 to 6 hours, actually, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. The 5 minute chart tends to project it out about 20 to 90 minutes. It's done a fine job, but it's stagnating right now. We're below this magenta speed line. For those of you that want to kind of see what that speed line is, well, there's Rob's speed lines, right? It's a blue and it's a cyan and magenta one. As they compress, it's telling you that very near-term momentum is being lost in that direction. It may be changing, it may be flattening out, as simple as that. I'm going to just toggle that off. And what I want to do here is try to figure out whether or not I can take another trade on the long side, or is this market done? Now, let me put a poll out there for everyone out there, right? Kind of like my friend Mark Z just put in the chat. When the buyers stop buying, well, maybe it's time to sell. Is that now, right? That's the question. So you can let me know if you're starting to change your view on how to trade this market morning to potentially the short side of the trade. So let me know, by putting a letter S in the chat if you're planning to sell or short, or if you're still leaning to the buy side, type in the letter B in the chat and share that with me. So I'm going to wait for that to kind of fizzle through all the chats and funnel through all the chats, and I'll give you an idea of what folks are saying. So if you're still leaning to the buy side, okay, type in the letter B. If you're starting to change your opinion on direction for the morning, right? Are we going to have a bigger down move right now? The 1 minute chart certainly bleeding. We're breaking through support. The 5 minute chart at this moment in time is just seeing price come down into rising support. So not necessarily the best time to say direction is changing from the 5 minute perspective, right? When you're looking at a 1 minute chart, you don't want to be myopic and be lost in the undercurrents, right? You want to see the undercurrent, you want to see the mid current, and at the surface, you've got that 1 minute chart. So at the surface, we're seeing a little bit of, backdraft, if you will, or reversion. The 5 minute chart, its pullback is into rising support. So the mid current is still up and away. It's not technically damaged. Price is trying to come down and test the channel. And the undercurrent, the biggest current, right, is still, quite screamingly risk on and up. Now, it's interesting. About 30% of the responses from what I've seen in the chat have flipped, 30 to 35 actually flipped to the sell side, right? Flip to the sell side. And everyone has different lenses that they look at the market through, right? You're going to look at the market through the tools that you've learned that you can lean on, tools that you're learning, for example. What I can say over here is if I use the principled approach, go back to first principles. What's the undercurrent? It's up. Is it a strong buy signal? It is. Double green dots are there. Price is above the speed lines. Fast speed lines above the slow. champion trend, champion cross, wealth signal, a breakout forecasters, and triple S. They're all saying, yeah, it's still up. Okay. And price is just engaging with that fast speed line. So the hourly chart, the biggest current, the undercurrent is saying, yeah, it's still aligned to go up. The 5-minute chart is saying, yeah, it's still aligned to go up, but we're seeing some erosion. Okay. And we can expect this obviously as we're coming up to all-time highs. And the 1-minute chart's in a sell signal state, right? We just converted to sell on the 1-minute chart. So now comes the big question. Do you rely on the bigger time frame undercurrent, the mid current, the 1-hour chart, the 5-minute chart? Do you rely on that to really give you, the highest probability decision? And my answer to that is yes, right? I think that this pullback is into rising support that can then offer up another opportunity for a long. That's the side that I'm on, okay? But I can't take a trade just yet. We're trying to eat through falling resistance above us on a 1-minute chart. We're in a sell signal state there, and this could be the thin edge, right? We tried to get up onto that rooftop garden party, which is roughly 30,950 or higher, 950, 960. And we poked our, one leg in, but maybe it was full. Maybe it was very difficult to fit our body into it. And that's pretty much what happened. And we've come back. Now, little time passes. We've come back. We're testing a local support area. We have made a lower low versus, this consolidation process before the high up here. So have we gone range bound? Yeah. It seemingly is now range bound. So I'm considering a trade, around the center of the range at this moment in time, right? Somewhere above 30,915. I could consider realistically getting into another long side trade. Where does short start to become cleaner? If I want to have a short thesis, it probably is going to have to be below the lows here and the lows here. So about 850. I'm going to go to the 5-minute chart and see if there's support around 850. There's support at 860, top of the channel. And then there's support at 835. And then there's support at 810. But we are trying to come down, so I could try for a quick one here. I don't really want to play short for the majority of the morning, but I'm not going to pass this opportunity up if it becomes juicier. So I do want to see it breach 850, and I can trade it down to 835. There's the breach. I'm in a short side trade right now. It's profit positive, and I'm taking my profit of $350 on one contract NQ short. I've shown you the entry. It was juicy. It did work. Okay. Is it still valid to hold on to? At this stage, the answer is yes, but I would be very careful. We're still in a market where the hourly chart, the biggest current that's going to affect price over several hours, is still in a buy signal state. Okay. The 5-minute chart is still in a buy signal state, but it's eroding, right? We still have the champion trend buy zone plaque that was installed all the way back here, 4:50 a.m. Eastern time, earlier in the wee hours of this morning, right? The channel is still largely sloping up, but price is below the speed lines. Now, the action that we're seeing with that tail form on the candle is absolutely normal. We're dipping into rising support. There are buyers waiting to catch the trend higher here. And right now, I'm not willing to join the long side. All right, I just took a short side trade. It worked out. It was very brief, right? And I'm still going to go back to first principles here. Hourly chart, 5-minute chart, buy signal state. 1-minute charts in a sell signal state. Is it coming down and breaking supports that destroy the opportunity for up, and away? And the best way that I know to tell whether or not trend is actually changing dramatically here is on the hourly time frame. We have a long way to fall before trend changes. You'll get a sense of it somewhere around the 30,700 area. But really, it would have to destroy the channel. It would have to destroy the buy zone trail line from the champion trend pack. And then down things can go. So I'm still in a solid uptrend. That hasn't changed. We've just dipped our toes into rising support, tested it, and we're trying to bounce back up off of it. Now, here's the NASDAQ on a 5-minute time frame again. The 5-minute time frame is dipping down into rising support. They haven't been busted. Below 30,780 80, I could start considering that maybe we are actually, heading to change direction. I still won't know the direction is really going to change until we start dipping down into the moving support and resistance channel, which is the three lines here, the three lines that I'm tracing right there. The upper half is usually a springboard. The lower half is usually like a fly trap, where a price can get stuck in it and we could end up rolling over. So at this moment in time, no change. I still think we're in an up and away move. But that up and away move is very stressed, and I did take a profitable short, and we are seeing price dip into the lower half of the 5-minute moving support and resistance channel. We are in a sell signal staying on a 1-minute chart. So if I was going to construct another short here, it would be below the low at 38.19, and I could play it down to 38.06. 38.06 or lower, 37.85. So I'm going to drop the 30. I'm just going to talk about last three numbers. It looks like that door is opening right now. I'm getting ready for that short. First stop on the train south would be 8.06. I'm going to take it below 8.20, 8.19. I misfired. I took it way too late. If I'm able to escape with any profit, amazing. I just don't want to damage the account that dramatically. I am getting out of the way. So I took a $40 profit on that. I had to get out of the way. There was no way that I was going to be comfortable taking it because we had a little jarring 10-point drop there, and I misfired my entry. I didn't, I unclenched the button. I wasn't comfortable with my behavior, but it's still working. For those who are in that short, the target area would be 785. I'm not going to chase it. Those that are in it, I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you that it's likely going to target 785. We just hit 791, 790, 789, 786 just got hit. So profit taking at that target area makes sense. Why is it a profit taking area? Well, on the 5-minute chart, that's the last line of support. Below 780 at this stage, we would probably be in a spot where we have to agree the direction may start changing. We might be heading to an area where direction changes. The 30,705 area would be that first real big insight coming off that hourly chart. Now, how are folks doing with the insight and the communication flow at this stage? I'm hopeful that some of you got that last short and were able to get something out of it. Let me know. You can let me know with lucky number 7 in the chat and share with me if it's working for you. What I'm trying to do is give you clean, concise information and keep you focused on what's important for the next transactable moment. There's so much that goes on at every single moment, and there's so many messages coming in at every single moment that I'm trying to filter through it and make sure that I see, anything that might not be working or any suggestions. I'm happy to, of course, work with that. And, Keith, you've asked a great question. Keith M. You asked a great question. Keith, are you okay with me just reading that out to everyone? Because I don't know if everyone has seen it. You let me know in the chat, and I think I can work my answer into that. I think it's a great question, especially when we're waiting for the next tradable moment. So I'm waiting for that next tradable moment. I'm still not there yet. And to Ken T, I can share with you where you can get the Triple S, of course. We're going to have a more open and just Q&A kind of time closer to the end of the session. So I'm certainly going to do that for you at that time. Okay. Make sure you bring it up when I officially announce, hey, we're going to start a Q&A. And I can go through all of the administrivia and all questions that folks have. So right now, it looks like my camera might be frozen. I don't know what's going on with my camera, but I'm looking at my camera right now and it's absolutely frozen. So I'm going to try to fix that at this moment. I'm not sure what's going on with it. I'm just going to put this up right now so that's on screen with you. Yeah, it looks like it's frozen. I don't know what happened. I was moving the chat around and my camera just froze. But that's me. So I'm there. Let's go focus back on the trading opportunity because I think that there's another trade coming in right now. And I'm looking for a short at this stage, and I'm looking for it right now. I think I got in a little too late. Yeah, I got in a little too late. I want to see it come right back down below that low. If it comes up into above 65, I'm going to have to take my pain and get out of the way. 765, that is. Okay, but it looks like it's still going fairly decent. Okay, let's see if we push below. There it is. There it is, and not anymore. And this is now a rebound that can really catch me. I'm getting out of the way. Coming back to test the speed lines, fine. Getting back in below the low, better. Getting back in below the low would be certainly better at this stage. So I am waiting patiently right now to see if I get that opportunity. And I'm going to see what's going on with that webcam. I'm not sure what happened, folks. So just hang tight with me on that. I'm going to try to see if I can fix that. If it's an issue on my end, that is. I'm still waiting to figure that out on my end. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it back up or not, but if I am, wonderful. If not, you'll have to make do with that still image of me at this stage. Yeah, it wasn't the best look, George. I agree. I just noticed that out of the corner of my eye. I was kind of looking up going, oh, what's going on? Okay. So now that's fixed. That's good. And we'll continue onwards here. So the next trading opportunity is what I want to focus in on. It doesn't look like my webcam is going to be back to life at this moment for some reason or the other. I'm not sure what happened, but hey, little bumps here as we kind of do this larger broadcast, and we will definitely get them fixed along the ride. Okay, so I'm seeing price action on the 1 minute chart slow down in its decline. It's in a sell signal state, but it's slowing down. The 5 minute charts breached a support structure with open room to fall down into roughly the lower, let's call it 720s. That's on the table. That's on the table. The 1 hour chart seeing price action wanting to come down and potentially back test support around the 700 area. So that 700 area is the area where we're probably headed down to. And if we make a lower low, which we're doing, I'm taking on a trade. I'm in. It went profit positive right away. It's now profit positive. I want to see if I can ride it a little longer here down to 700. Okay, there it is. There it is. It's now doing very well. Very well. It's now very, very well. And I'm taking $430 of profit on that trade. Yes, a moment ago, it was more than that. And it'll probably grow, but I was able to get a piece out of it. So let me know, did that trade work for you? Did that trade work for you? Were you able to take a piece of that trade? Feel free to share with me in the chat and let me know. Now, I do want to get my my webcam back on so that you've got me there with you. But bear with me for a moment here while I just try to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still not ready to it's simply not on just yet. I'm trying it right now. I want to see if it's still, nope, it's still that same image. It looks like I'd have to stop my broadcast and restart it again to get it going. So I don't think I'm going to do that right now, but I'll leave that image up there for you so you know at least who's talking with you at this time. All right, folks. So I just want to do a quick roundup over here. And see how folks are doing with that last trade. So you saw me qualify that last trade. I looked at the 1 hour chart, right? I looked at where we're coming down to, roughly the 700 area. I looked at the 5 minute chart. I understood we've got open room to fall down into the 720s or lower. We have, and it's continued down. You know, my friend Mark Z said earlier, hey, if the buyers aren't buying, maybe it's time to sell. And about 35% of the folks in the room had flipped their thesis to, hey, I'm going to sell this morning rather than not. And it looks like, that is what's happening at this stage. Well, you see me make some decent profit on it. Now the question is, where's the next trade? The 1 minute chart's bleeding. The 5 minute chart's bleeding. And has got more room to fall, but we've had an expansive move already. The 1 hour chart's coming into support at 650. So can I take one more trade down to 650? I think so. I think it's a little stretched. So I have to be very careful about my choice to enter. And right now, I'm still thinking it through. I think there is opportunity. I think I'll try it below 70. and I'm going to try to keep the trade to about 50. Just putting my horizontal crosshairs there. My fingers on the trigger. It went faster than I thought. It could whipsaw on me, and I don't want that. Above 70, I'm going to have to get out of the way. That'll be a 10-point loss, unfortunately, and I have to get out of the way. There's no reason, if it's not directly coming down in such an oversold state. Oversold can get oversolder. We know that. Oversold can get way oversolder. Okay, we just need to be in the right spot at the right time, and I'm trying it one more time. So I'm trying to trade now below the 50 marker. I got it at 52. I want to see if we can get an implosion here of about 20 to 25 points. If we get above 65, I have to take my pain and get out of the way, right? So I've tried it a couple of times. Now here's the lesson. The lesson at this stage is we've shifted to a spot where the dynamics of buy and sell are favoring sell. Effectively, those that are holders of bullish longs have gotten out of the way, or partially, and we've seen price on that 1 hour chart come to the center of the channel. It's come there precisely, and it's held it. Okay, now I know that the upper half of the moving support and resistance channel can act like a springboard, and we're looking at a 1 hour chart, which is still in a buy signal state, albeit the buy signal has eroded. Okay, it's not as strong, it's eroded. Okay, but we're still in a buy signal state. You've got the champion trend buy zone trail line. The champion cross zone is there, but it doesn't have the dot at the bottom of the main chart. So we know it's eroded, and we know price action's below the speed lines. When I take a look at that 5-minute chart, we're in a full-on sell signal state, right? We've got a triple S, range breaker, champion trend, and champion cross now all engaged on that sell side at this moment in time. So while it's all engaged in the sell side, we need to see it further. And what's the number that it needs to come down below to tell me that, yeah, the next range of shorting is opened up? I'm going back to that 1 hour chart, and I'm going to simply say it's below the center of the moving support and resistance channel. The center of that channel is sitting at 30,648, 650 to be more precise. 650 down to about 595 or lower is the next shortable range if that should open up. So right now, I'm just waiting. Not interested in hitting that short side trade button. I'm gonna wait, let it breathe. And if the buy signal wants to resume, hey, I'm okay trying that. Ideally, it's all the way back up here in the upper 700s, but there might be something on the way back up. I'll have to look at it from a 5-minute and 1-minute chart perspective, and then get a good idea of it at that point. 30,780 gets us back into, well, above the speed lines and back into the channel, which is depicting magenta, right? The 3 lines are depicting magenta, which means what? Technical damage. It's less effective. The technical signals are less effective. The 1-minute chart seeing that fast speed line cross above the slow. And we know that there's clearly a downtrend from a 1-minute time frame basis starting at around 10:10 a.m. Eastern time. So that's obviously there. We need to see that either remain in play and get reinforced, which would mean can't break out of sell signal structures on that 1-minute chart. So it all kind of points to around 780. Don't try along until we're above it, is what the charts are telling me at this stage. So I'm waiting. I'm not interested in a counter trend long against that aggressive down move we've seen on the with well signaled down move on that 1-minute chart. It's in a sell state on the 5-minute chart. It's just that 1 hour chart, which is the most important current at the end of the day, right? Where I don't think we've opened the door to the next short opportunity yet. And we're hemming and hawing about whether or not it's an opportunity to rebound back up, which could very easily happen, folks, right? This is not something that would be off base. We're still in a buy signal state, according to a variety of the technical indications here, a majority of them, not a variety, a majority of them on screen. All right, temperature check of the room. Is the information you're getting from me digestible? I'm going to keep asking that question over and over so that I can modulate my style as needed, slow down where needed, So you can let me know with lucky number 7. You can let me know with a letter Y in the chat, or a no. Any feedback on the nature of how I'm disseminating the information will be very helpful to you and everyone else. So far, I'm not getting anything except for it's great, which is amazing. And I'm happy to hear that folks are doing well. And I see Vivian H, you've said, hey, have you ever called horse races? Well, no, I have not. But it's something that I probably won't do. But maybe we can make an exciting moment out of the market, right? We're very close to seeing another trading opportunity. And hey, Simon, I'm happy to hear that. That's amazing. And to everyone writing in, that's amazing. So thank you kindly for your comments. I do appreciate that. And psychology, psychology from overtrading, right? So the hardest part is having your menu ready to go and making sure that you buy things off the menu, right? What do I mean by that? We have to have familiarity with setups that we've had some experience with or we have studied. And then we have to understand what kind of setup we're in order to be able to take that off the menu. That is my cleanest response to not overtrading. So if you're looking for something that you're looking for, it's happened before in some variation of it, which is right now, I'm seeing an opportunity for another short, and I'm looking for an acceleration to the low and a breach of the low. I'm taking it right where it is right now. I'm familiar with this. I also know that it can be a higher low and kind of like a cup and handle pattern and just destroy it. But I see the sell signals on the 1-minute chart. I'm in a sell signal state on a 5-minute chart. If that bar starts to go green, I get the heck out of the way. But I've seen this setup before. I want to see if I can get that bottom breaking. I didn't. So I had to take my pain on that trade and get out of the way. But to answer that question very clearly, I want to have as many credible setups that I'm familiar with, that I'm familiar taking over and over and over again, as part of a menu. And of course, I want to grade those setups and understand which ones are the highest probability. Then I want to see if it fits the pattern and if I'm comfortable taking it. And if that is the case, amazing. If it's not something I'm comfortable with, I'm not going to take it. Now I'm going to move this chart off screen right now. I'm going to take you back to more of the plain clothes chart that has 5-minute and daily bars. We're going to just go look at the NQ and just understand where we're located. Right. So let me make that full screen for you. And just to be very, very clear, okay, we're looking at a chart right now that, the obvious should scream out and hit us over the head. The obvious is we're in a price area that is very close to all-time highs. And this is specifically for the U contract for the NQ. This is not an area where we want to be trifling around with low probability setups. I want to have alignment across time frames. I want to ideally see that long side trade reassert itself and give me a reason to believe that it can get back on the horse, because the hourly chart's still holding on to buy signals. It's not gotten off those buy signals yet. They've been eroded, that's for sure, but they have not come off the tape, if you will. So at this stage, I'm still looking for long side trading opportunities, ideally, but I can't right now with the way that the 1-minute chart is signaled and the way that the 5-minute chart is signaled. So I'm looking now at the pivot level over here, sitting at around 30,630. If I see prices come down below there, I probably could see, upwards of 100 or more points in terms of a drop. Okay, so this becomes a very critical area for me to understand whether support can hold. So around 30,630. So what am I going to do with that? Well, I'm going to now take that chart off the screen. I'm going to bring back on your screen the chart of the NQ with the indications on it. And we're just going to look at it as, there it is. Okay, this is that potential trade that I was looking for. It's setting itself up. But we know that below 630, we've got a much better chance for better shorts. So at this point, I've got my finger on the trigger, but I'm waiting to see if price can breach 650, which is effectively the low on the 10:33 a.m. Eastern Time 1-minute bar. If it does so, I may be able to capture 20 points or more. So my finger's on the trigger, the button's depressed, and I'm waiting for something to breach 650. We're at 662, 658. Let's see if we breach 650. And it may happen all at once, and I might not be able to catch it. So I've already seen myself make the error where I've tried to catch something that's fallen more or moved more than where I thought, right? And Fuad, you like that analogy of the menu? You get comfortable with great restaurants, but you want to make sure that the dishes that you want are on special that day. Okay, so we're getting closer and closer to 650. We breach 650. There's probably going to be a 20-point drop. It might be a little whoosh. I'm waiting patiently for it. My finger's on the trigger. The button's depressed, and I'm in. So I've taken it on. Let me make this full screen for you. Let's see if we get any efficacy out of it. There it is. There it is. There it is. Let's see if we get a little more out of it. If not, this can whipsaw against me quite badly. Now, I think we're coming down to 630, and I think that we're likely going to breach 630. So I'm holding the trade. I'm holding it. There's 630. We hit it. We breached it. I want to see if we get a little more. If we get up above 40, I'm going to take my profit and get out of the way. Right now, I'm out. Still able to capture some profit. Low three triple digits, which is good. Is there another opportunity to join this trade? And I think I might be missing it right now. The shoulda, woulda, coulda itis is coming into play, and it's going, oh, shoulda, woulda, coulda held it, right? But that doesn't help anyone. It's certainly not going to help decision making moving from here. So right now comes the question of, can we get another trade out of this move? I'm just looking through the chat right now to see what kind of comments we're getting from folks. And see where folks are. But Keith M., I hope I answered your question in terms of the menu analogy. If you know the restaurant, amazing. That's the market condition. If you know what's on the menu regularly, amazing. You've got setups. What's on special on that day is what we want to go after, right? As long as it's part of the menu items that you're comfortable with. All right. So let's see over here. And Mark B, you might be right? There may be more meat on this bone for lower. So our short teeth are out, that's for sure. Let's see if we can keep it going over here. And I love the comments coming in through the chat. So thank you for all the support. I do appreciate that. And amazing results. I see some great results from, I'm not sure exactly what your name is, but IMTL or IMT1. Amazing. Or is that just a call out? I think that's a call out. I thought you were putting a profit number in there. My apologies. My apologies. Okay, let's keep going over here. So I've got a lower low in price. I've got a lower low in the indicator at the bottom of the screen. There's no positive divergence. This down move may continue. Let's back it back up to the hourly chart. Are we in the lower half of the moving support and resistance channel? Well, we were, right? You saw me take short trades there. This is like a fly trap. We can get trapped in here and come back down. 590 or lower would be the area that we can head down to. And the 5-minute chart's in a sell signal state with an additional sell signal coming into play, that orange ball above price, which is wealth signal. But I also have a blue dot underneath the bar saying the sell might cool off a little bit for a moment. So I'm waiting. The 1-minute chart is in a full-on sell signal state, no positive divergence. I'm still seeing a convergence, lower lows in price, lower lows in the indicator. The slow momentum line as part of the subchart there is still pointed straight down. So right now, it's oversold mechanics against downtrend. That's what we're dealing with. Oversold mechanics versus downtrend. And Keith M., you're saying, I did answer the question. You say you literally noted all the menu analogy down. There's so many different ways that we can contextualize and digest what to do. But what it comes down to at the end of the day is, do you know a setup that works for you over and over and over again? Okay. If you don't, we have to learn more setups, right? And that's what I'm here to help with as well. Okay. Are you comfortable executing that setup? It doesn't have to be perfect every time, but can you get as close to what the entry would be? And can you get out before it turns around on you? And that's what I'm trying to demonstrate over and over. It's not going to work out all the time, but if you've got the menu down and you're not distracted, more often than not, there will be some result that is beneficial. So right now, I'm looking for another opportunity short. I'm looking for it below 610, roughly, to trade down to 592. And my finger's on the trigger. Button is depressed. Let me just clear my crosshairs out of the way here and spread this open a bit. And why 591? Well, I've done that work already. I've gone back to the hourly chart and I said, hey, 591 is the bottom of the MSR channel or lower, 550. 590 to 550 is what I'm targeting if the door opens for the next short. If I was dealing with positive divergences, i.e. lower lows in price and higher lows on the indicator, heck no, not interested. Right. And at this stage, I think there might be a positive divergence using another set of tools on that 1 minute chart that I haven't accounted for. So I'm backing away. I'm not in, my finger's not on the trigger. I'm waiting. This can also be a whoosh moment. So I'm waiting. I know that below 650, we're in the lower half of the 1 hour charts MSR channel, below 650. Okay, so I need to be below 650. I know I'm in a sell signal state on the 5 minute chart below the speed lines. I know we've got a local low, i.e. the low that was just made on the last closed 5 minute bar in the low 16s. So 615-ish. And I know that I've got room if the short represents itself to trade down to 590 to 550. So I'd like to take the trade below 610. We're at 628 right now. My finger's on the trigger, button is depressed, and I'm waiting for my execution moment because this can be a whoosh. So we're coming down into the 600 and teens now. Let's see if we can come down and breach 610. It's getting closer and closer, but it's not there yet. So I'm waiting to try to execute it as perfectly as I can. We're at 630, 627, and look, there might be a lot of heat produced for this opportunity and no light, but I do think that we're leaning into one more leg down. As you were saying, Mark, there might be some more meat on this short bone, right? The short ribs are looking fairly tasty. So let's see if that works out. And again, I'm not going to execute by thinking something is going to happen. I need to see. The thinking part is the planning part. Right? The thinking part is the planning part. It is not the part where I go, oh, I'm executing. No, I'm coming up with the mechanics, the exact levels, the structures that I need to trade around, the indications that I can support it, and then I'm going to execute. So right now I'm waiting. If we come down below the low of the last closed 1 minute bar, I've got a trade. If not, I don't think I'm going to have a trade on the long side here that I'm comfortable with. Now, the one way that I would want to trade for the balance of this hour before Eurozone traders come off the tape and some strategies change and volume gets lopped off. I'd like to trade short aligned with the 5 minute and the 1 minute chart, knowing that the 1 hour chart's caught in that fly zone, right? In that fly trap below 650. So we're getting closer to it again, but still no dice, not ready yet. I'm just going to spread it out open a little bit more. We could be coming down to 550, right? Oh, we just made a lower low and I missed my entry by distracting myself. I chased it. So I'm going to have to deal with that chase right now. It could go against me fairly badly here. Anything above 615, I'm probably going to want to get out of the way and then want to come back in only below the low, only below the low. And at this stage, I need to go and do a double check right now of location and just rudimentary price structure, because I think that we may be breaking trend formations here that I have to be very, very aware of, or reinforcing them, which I need to be aware of. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just putting up on your screen. Let me just get that back to where it needs to be. It just shifted. I've got a very hyperactive mouse, apparently. So what I want to do over here is just understand that uptrending structure is, fully broken or not. Obviously, we've come down and made lower lows. Obviously, if you draw a trend line between the low right there, and that was last night, Sunday night, right, against the low right over there around 12:45 a.m. These are 5 minute bars on the NQU. So if you draw that trend line, it's broken. But we know things operate within a tolerance range, and channels are actually a lot more valuable than discrete trend lines to me. I'm going to right click on the screen. I'm going to grab my drawing tools, go to my line options, and I'm going to grab a regression trend channel. I'm going to start it at the low right over there, and that was last night. I'm going to have wealth charts just drag it to the future for me. I like it aesthetically a little different, so I'm changing that around a little bit over here. And what can we tell? This is a 2 standard deviation channel. We're well below the bottom. We've almost even come back to back test the underbelly of it. So we've had a decisive direction change that does not have to still go straight down, right? We could end up being in a market that goes range bound at this stage. So one has to be aware that that can be the way that this plays out. So I want to be very careful about just saying, hey, it's going to trend down only. We're coming into a support structure. We are below the 630 marker. We're below the 650 marker, which was important, of course, on the 1 hour chart. And if we come down below 610, I'm willing to try to take that short side trade again into the end of the hour. So I'm going to bring that chart back up on your screen right now. Let's see if we get that opportunity. We're at 620, 618. Okay. I know that we've busted a uptrend channel, obviously an uptrend line. We've done so by more than 2 standard deviations. We're coming below a major support area. That support area was generated off of the big kahuna, the hourly chart, the center of the channel there. And we're coming closer and closer to 610. And let's see if we breach it. We breaching. Okay, I think I took it before the breach, but I took it. I'm looking for 590 or 550. And look at that trade go, folks. Thank you very much. $570 on that trade right over there. We identified the opportunity, identified the location. Did I maximize it? No. I'm here to demonstrate how to find the trade, how to execute the trade, and I'm going to take profit where I'm comfortable taking profit. We did come down pretty much to that 30,550-ish area. Now, did you see how that came together, folks? That's the part that is the part where you can step back and go, okay, we're in the thick of it. Obviously, this is live. Apologies that my webcam's not on there, but you got a little picture of my head there. I'll get that webcam issue fixed for next go around. But we identified on the hourly chart that the lower half of the MSR channel is the fly trap, right? That was around 650 when we were looking at it earlier, right? It will move with time and price, obviously. Now it's moved down to 644 right now. So we knew that that was an area where, even though we're still in a buy signal state on the hourly chart, we've got some potential short opportunity. And then we, of course, corroborated it with the sell signal state we were in on the 5-minute chart. And we recognized that we had incremental sell signals like wealth signal, like the breakout forecaster, like the double red dots appearing above the bar from the Triple S toolkit. We understood that we're oversold, but we're dealing with, a downtrend and oversold dynamics. So what does that mean? If the floor is being etched away at, which we identified in advance it was, we broke in trend, right? We broke the pivot line that was important, 630. We broke the channel we've been in an uptrend channel since about roughly 8 p.m. last night, Sunday night futures there on after. We broke all of that stuff. So I had to flip the script on myself and say, no, look, the hourly chart might still be in a buy signal. We might still come back up. But if I want to trade now, I'm going to take advantage of breaking the center of the MSR channel on the 1 hour chart, project down to where the bottom of the channel is for support, or the champion trend buy zone trail line, which we came down and perforated, right? It was almost perfect, right? The execution was below 610. And I said, hey, I might get 590. I might get 550. I didn't get all of it, but were you able to get something out of that? Whether it was learning, whether it was earning, whether it was both. If you did, give me a lucky number 7 in the chat and share that with me and let me know. It was a pretty cool setup, no? It was a pretty cool setup. And I know that for folks that are listening in for the first time, I speak fairly quickly. I'm trying to slow it down a bit and, have one chart on the screen at a time to force myself to slow it down and make sure I focus you in on the insight. But you're welcome at any time to provide feedback and let me know, hey, some things I understand, some things I don't. It's my pleasure to work with you on that. Now, what we're going to be doing is moving into a bit of a Q&A session for the last 30 minutes of this morning experience that you've been in. And what I want to do is I still want to look for trades, of course, but I also want to make sure that I take care of you, right? There's going to be questions that I'm sure that you'll want answered. I know a few have already come in. I've tried to kind of work some answers in along the way, but we can have a little bit more dedicated time for Q&A. I also want to see if I can get my webcam back up and running. I just need to talk to all of the amazing administrative staff to see whether or not that should be attempted or not. And hold your questions. As soon as I'm ready for the Q&A session, I'm going to do my best to just make it clear that we're doing a Q&A, and then off we go. All right. So bear with me for just a moment over here. I just want to do a couple of real quick questions with my admin team. And these are incredible folks that make what I'm doing over here possible for everyone. So just hang tight for a second. All right, I'm still here with you, folks. I'm just having a little chat with folks on our team, the amazing Wealth Charts team, to figure out if all is a go for me to try and get my camera back up here. And we'll see if that's a go or a no-go. And then we can move into our Q&A session. What I want to do is I'm going to officially announce, hey, Q&A is open. It's not open yet. But when I do announce it, the idea would be, feel free to put your questions in wherever they are. We can go. Okay, just give me a second here. It looks like I am going to get everything back up and running. So you're going to see my stream is going to go dark for a sec, and then it should come back on. Okay, so hang tight, folks. Field briefing, then active operations live fire, and then a review, the learnings. What did the market teach us? So it's the read, it's the execution, it's the lessons. Those are the three things that I want to kind of structure the conversation around. Looks like we're all good to go. Let me just make sure the team's all good. And I think that we're all good to go everywhere. So folks listening in from all sorts of areas, please do let me know in the chat that you are able to see me moving around. Of course, you can see my chart, and that's all good to go. You can do that with the letter Y in the chat, or lucky number 7, however you feel like communicating. You're more than welcome to do so in any way. I just want to make sure that the experience is good for you, because I've been on the other side of the screen. And I know what it's like if the audio just isn't right. It can get grating on you. And I want to make sure that that's not a distraction from what we're here to do. We're here to read the market. We're here to execute. We're here to learn the lessons and then rinse and repeat over and over and over again. So let's go to it. Looks like things are going well based on what I'm hearing from folks. And let me just do a quick response in the chat here to a couple of folks, and then I'm going to get back on the horse with you folks. So hang tight for a second. All right, I think I've got the right messages out to the right folks, and I'm ready to go. So, folks, I want to officially open up the Q&A period. Feel free to throw into the chat questions that you might have. While those questions are coming in, I want to review the lessons we've learned from this market morning, and what we've tried to take a piece out of the market. So we're going to focus you in on the 1 hour chart, which is the day trader's boss. A 1 hour chart with the indications that you see on screen projects out, typically casts its signal out over the next 3 to 6 hours. If the market's faster, it could be a little less than 3 hours. Okay, if the market's really slow, it could be the full 6 hours or more even. When you're in a market state where you're near all-time highs, or you've had a major negative move down in the market, the dynamics change. We're near all-time highs. We are in a signaled state for up on the 1 hour chart. We saw that when we came into play this morning, didn't we? We saw the champion trend buy zone trail line, the champion cross zone. Let me highlight them to make sure that you know what we're talking about. The champion trend indicator, which is one of the 5 core indications of the champion trend pack. So the champion trend pack, it's got that buy zone. You can't make a mistake. It says buy zone, and there's a trail line. And then, of course, the champion cross buy zone. That's that darker green zone that you see underneath price with the green dot at the bottom of the main chart. Now, those two have to be in place in order to start off the sequence. And they were in place at 2 a.m. Eastern time. On the 2 a.m. hourly Eastern time hourly bar, they were in place for the NQ. So we knew we were in a buy sequence at that point. We also got the benefit of a range breaker indication on that very first bar where the buy sequence officially started. Okay, and that's that cyan or blue dot that my crosshairs are targeting. I'm just going to highlight that for you right there. So we actually started a robust buy sequence at 2 a.m. on the hourly chart. Now, remember what you heard me say, 3 to 6 hours. Okay, so add your 6 hours to that 2 a.m. bar, the end of the 2 a.m. bar. It takes you to 9 a.m., potentially to 10 a.m. Did we get an up on the 9 a.m. bar? Yeah. So you can't make that stuff up. Now, you heard me say the 1 hour chart projects out 3 to 6 hours. You heard me say that earlier, right? This is just me making sure that you can see that lesson in real life here. The signal was in play right there. At the end of the 2 a.m. Eastern time hourly bar, we knew we were in a buy sequence. Okay. And we did see the market rise. Okay. So when we came into the room at around 9:15 a.m. Eastern time, when I started gabbing with you, we had a robust buy signal on the hourly chart. At that time as well, the 5-minute chart was in a buy signal before the open, right? Before the open, where we got a little bit of mishmash, a little back and forth happening over here, we were in a buy signal state. The official buy signal state on the 5-minute chart started when? Right there, where you can see the buy zone plaque. Okay, right there. It started. It was not perfect, right? We went from green dots to red dots to no dots to green dots. So there was a lot of sideways. It was range. It was a range-bound market, in through the Eurozone trade. And then we got a little liftoff as we moved into about 7 a.m. And that really kicked things off. 7 a.m., 7:05 a.m., those two 5-minute bars kicked things off. We broke the range and we ended up seeing up, up, and away. And now we started in the open with the idea that I want to take long side trades. Why? The hourly chart gave me that backdrop. 5-minute chart gave me that. And at one point, the 1-minute chart was giving me that. But it started oscillating wildly. And we know that things started to change. But we have to get a good idea of what needs to be broken in order for us to actually say that, yeah, direction is changing. So I did that organically with you, right? I came to you and I said, look, hourly chart below the speed lines, that's a problem. The upper half of the MSR channel is usually a springboard. So I'm not really necessarily expecting it to break down, but I had such aggressive aligned sell signals on the 1-minute chart, on the 5-minute chart, that I had to keep my mind open for, hey, we could start coming down and breaching things, breaking things. And we did breach and we did break things. So if you take a look at that chart that I did up with that linear regression channel, right around 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, we broke below the bottom of this green, black, and red channel. This green, black, and red channel, I'm just going to make it a little thicker here to make it punch out on the screen, is like a bell curve. We came down to the tail of the bell where normally 2/3 of the time we're going to try to revert to the mean. We didn't even attempt reverting to the mean. We just fell off a cliff. In fact, we back tested it back over here at around 10:40 a.m. and it worked as resistance. So we broke that directional move overall that really was in place from last night at around 7:55 p.m. onwards on the NASDAQ overall. So as I started to get more and more familiar with the breakdown over here, I was able to take even more successful short side trades. But the drop down through the center, the drop down along the ride, we were able to utilize the structures on that 1-hour chart and that 5-minute chart in particular to help us. When we started breaking the champion trend buy zone trail line or getting in the lower half of the 5-minute chart's MSR channel, which is right over there, we knew that there was something up here that could actually be more negative. And it was. Now I'm going to turn so the major lesson here is, even if we are in a clear aligned buy signal state, you start off in the open and you're seeing wild oscillation. Don't be surprised if you're near all-time highs. Folks are trying to figure out whether they should be in or not, and what they should be in or not. And it's in a very stressed area. And this is on the heels of last week, the Fed coming to us, which we expected Warsh to be more opaque, to try and inject more credibility into the Fed, where U.S.-Iran is starting to get resolved with still some fires burning, if you will. And now we're moving into a period where we still have to wait for earnings, which is the next big lever, right? It's geopolitics, positioning, and then outlook. And the equity market is a discounting mechanism. It's going to try to discount anywhere from 3 to 9 months of the future into its price right now. So the next set of information that we're going to get, we still have to wait for at this stage, right? We have to wait for Q2 earnings. We have to wait for the first half to be consolidated. And we still have a little ways to wait. It's not the end of June just yet. So from a high level all the way down to making decisions on the day, I was ready for a risk on day. Oil's down, silver and gold were up, euro's trying to get off the floor. But am I shocked that we had struggles up at these highs? Are you? Rhetorical question. We're at all-time highs. I'm not shocked. So what we tried to do is opportunistically but methodically take advantage of structure breaks, and we aligned it with the signals, and we took some great trades along the ride. So I'm hopeful that folks got a lot out of this market morning. Now I'm going to turn my attention over to the chat, see if there's some questions here that I can start responding to. So bear with me for a moment while I just read through. So let's go over here. So there's lots of chats that I'm looking through, so be patient with me, and I'm going to do my best to see if there are questions. I don't see a whole bunch of questions actually. So if you have questions, I know that there was questions on the workspace and the layout, which is hard coded into wealth charts, by the way. So I know Hardio, you were asking about that. So I'm going to show you where to find that. Mark, I think you're asking about a really good question that is kind of like the order of signals. So I think that's a great question. I see, Grim, you're asking about, do I look at order flow? I tend to have it open on a screen, and it's really acceleration or deceleration of the actual meets that helps in the midst of a trade. It does not help me with a trade. It helps me establish whether or not the momentum in that direction is keeping up. So if you're seeing order, if I'm taking a short and order flows to the sell side and accelerating, we're seeing a lot more connections, right? Because it's time independence when a buyer and seller connect. If I'm seeing acceleration in the order flow and I'm in a short side trade, and it's obviously to the sell side, that will give me the impetus to stay in the trade for a little longer. So that's my answer, and vice versa on the other side as well. But it's not a core component of what I look at all the time. It's just an ancillary part of the move. Okay, so now let me turn to another question over here. The question is, what is the order of signals that start telling you the 1 hour is faltering? Speed lines, MSR, second line, third line. So the answer, and Mark, that's a great question, right? Because that goes back to the lessons we've learned, right? Which we have to take in order. So when price perforated the fast and the slow speed lines on that hourly chart and then bounced back up, it gave us reason for longs. It gave us reasons for longs. When it came down below the speed lines, even before it came down below the speed lines, your first order is to look at the air between the fast and the slow speed lines. So to be explicit about this, here you go. There's the speed lines. Okay, we had expansion at the height of that bar. At the beginning of the next bar, we saw a little push up that failed. Remember, I tried some long side trades over there. Remember that trade around 950, 960, the rooftop garden analogy that I was using? We never got into the rooftop garden party. It was full. Right? There was no space to have ourselves physically walk through it. And the message that I'm giving you here is that we started to see compression between the fast and the slow speed line. The cyan or blue line is the fast speed line. The magenta is the slow speed line. So we were seeing compression start to form. And that was evident on the 5-minute chart before it was evident on the hourly chart. That's why having multiple time frames can be very, very valuable. That's your first line. Right? It's multi-time frame and then the speed lines. So the 1-minute chart, you're getting just a little after 10 a.m. Eastern time. It's obviously going to have lots of signaling. We had consolidation, some expansion, some air in between the fast and the slow speed line, but it started to compress. And right in and around here, this is the area. Now you see that triangle right there? So that's my proprietary indicator, the triple S indicator. That indication usually comes in a little in advance than most things out there. And it told me, watch your back. It didn't tell me that we were going to start a big downtrend. It said, watch your back. Why? And it was on a 1-minute chart because we got the signal and price started to come down below the speed lines. And we saw the fast speed line below the slow. Okay, so that was the first real inkling that something is changing here. But truth be told, we saw a little bit of that earlier. We didn't have the down signal though. So we got the down signal, fast speed line came below the slow. Then it's about really getting into the lower half of the MSR channel on whatever the time frame is. Obviously, we're going to look at the 1-minute time frame to start. That's the bleeding or the leading edge. So that gave us, the door opening to the downside. The champion trend pack came into play. Sell zone came into play, champion cross came into play, champion trend came into play, and down the hatch, the triple S line went, giving us, more and more, let's just say, strength to the short side of the trade, which ended up being where, most of the better trades were for this market morning, and not on the long side. The 5-minute chart officially moved into a sell signal state with a bearish cross on the speed lines and price coming down into the lower half at 10:20 a.m. Eastern time. The 1-minute chart gave us the inkling that things were changing at 10:13 a.m. You could even say 10:11 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, so the leading edge or the bleeding edge usually gives you that little warning. It doesn't have to follow through, but what you're looking for then is a cascade effect on the signals. If the 1-minute chart's starting to erode from its buy signal state, starting to move into a mixed zone or moving into a sell signal state, you want to know how close the 5-minute chart is to that happening as well. And we were in a buy signal state officially up until the 10:20 a.m. Eastern time bar, right? That's where it changed. On close of that bar, it changed. Price went decisively into the lower half of the MSR channel, moving support and resistance channel, and below it. It came down to the champion trend buy zone trail line, had a little bounce, and was not able to get back in the channel and hold. And then we got a range breaker. We got a triple S, range breaker, champion trend, champion cross, down the hatch it went. And we're still stuck in that state right now. The 5-minute chart is still in a sell signal state. But am I shorting this? No. Is the 1-minute chart giving me a reason to? Well, let's take a look at the hard right edge. The answer is no. This is just chop and slop. It might be building a base, getting ready for a counter trend bounce back up. So not interested, but I hope that adds some depth to your the question that you asked. Okay, and to folks that are in the ATR, just a quick message to you again. All right, I'm just going to repeat that message. And to folks that are asking questions everywhere, let me just go read through them and see what I can do with your questions for this Q&A period. That's a great question. I think it's Ophibix is asking, how are you able to balance such fast-paced decision-making and not overtrade? It's again the menu analogy. Do I see aligned signals and a particular setup that I'm comfortable with? Like we've come down and hit support. We're coming down to try and hit support. So far, it's a higher low. We're coming down to that. We're trying to come down to that same low. Do I have positive divergences that are in the way? If not, if I'm coming back down to that low, I might be able to take a trade, which is actually right now, by the way. I'm seeing a setup right now, and I'm taking the trade right now. So I'm taking it right now. It's profit positive, 145 bucks, 240 bucks. I'm taking my profit of 215 bucks. There it is. It's done. I saw the setup. I saw the low. I know we're in a sell signal state on a 1-minute chart. I know we're in a sell signal state on a 5-minute chart. I know that the hourly chart has busted into the lower half of the MSR channel, which is where I took the short within. I'd like to take another one below the bottom of the channel, which is around 590. And I'd like to take another one if it comes down and gives us another showing down in and around the champion trend buy zone trail line, which we perforated on the last hourly bar, which is where I did the majority of my shorting. That was that last incredible setup where we said, hey, somewhere below 650, 630, 620, we're looking for a short down to 590 or 550. And that ended up being a perfect setup. What I just did right now was opportunistic. Can it be rinsed and repeated? Probably. But my answer to that question is, I'm not over trading if I know I'm in a high probability setup that is aligned with signals and I've got the rationale down right. Like I could be in a trade right now, playing the short out down to effectively, sniff. It's probably trying to sniff out whether or not support does exist, down in the lows that we had right around the turn of the hour or 5 minutes before the turn of the hour. The sell signal state's there. I know we're oversold. I know that there's alignment on the sell signal state, but I'm not in a trade right now. If we take out the low of the last closed 1-minute bar, which is around 586, sure, I could consider it. Right? Because I know that I'm below support structures on the 5-minute chart, below the speed lines. I know that I'm in the lower half of the MSR channel on the 1-hour chart. And I know that I'm seeing sell signals start to actually present on that 1-hour chart. See that red triangle there? See the bearish speed line cross, the cyan speed line below the magenta? These are all things telling me that, trend may be changing. And this is not something that should be new, right? We discussed at what point are we going to get an inkling that trend is changing? And you heard me say that before this red bar became this big red bar. And I said, hey, below the speed lines, and if we start to come down below 30,700, if you remember that, give me a lucky number 7 in the chat and share that with me. If you remember that coming down below that 30,700 marker was something that I said on the hourly chart that, hey, if we start to see that, we've got an inkling that maybe direction is changing. And there might be some short side trades there. Okay, we got it. And we did some short side trades, right? That's the idea, at least. I see those 7s coming through the chat, so that's awesome. Okay, back to answering your questions, folks. I want to see if I can answer as many of them as possible. There's probably more questions than time, but let's see. Okay. The next question from Grim Reaper. I like your handle. Where can I learn your? Well, just come here each day. Come here each day, and I will continue to teach and trade live with you each day. Let's continue on here. And Grim Reaper, you're asking, that's a great question. And this goes to answering your question as well, Hardio. Does Wealth Charts come with these indicators? The Champion Trend Pack comes with a Wealth Charts membership. And that's something that is, it's invaluable as far as I'm concerned. Right. So picking up an FFF account and being able to pick an account up for as little as, and FFF folks, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but as little as 15, 16 bucks or there and abouts, and then getting access to Wealth Charts, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So, feel free to ask in the FFF chat. I'm sure the mods in there will be able to respond back to you and give you information on that at will. But yes, it does come with your Wealth Charts membership. Now, the Triple S indicator doesn't, right? That's another level, but there it is. So now the next thing. And I see Derek C. asking a question. We're just trying a little something different this week, Derek. So there you are. And Ken T., you asked about how do you get the Triple S? You need to write into support@wealthcharts.com. So I'm not going to type it into the chat, Ken, but just write into support at, actually, I might be able to put it directly in the chat to you. So let's see if I can do that. Okay, so I just sent you a direct message there. So feel free to just write in and request it, and they'll take care of you. Okay, so there's the answer to that question. Okay, let's see if I can keep answering questions over here. All right, the next one, and again, we're in a Q&A period right now. Okay, so I'm just trying my best to field as many of the questions as possible. So hang tight as I try to find the next one in line. So there's a great question over here from Scooby Trades. Scooby Trades 1 asked, how far back are you looking for levels? So truth be told, I go back a long time, but in order to trade an individual trading day, at a minimum, I'm looking back to the most recent events. So to be very specific, go back to a daily chart. This is the best way for me to describe it. If I'm looking for levels, I know that there's a very clean story on this chart. I made a high. I got pulled back to a low. Okay, so early June highs, June 11th-ish lows, back up to highs. I have to have all price action in this range accounted for, going back to effectively the beginning of May. Scooby Trades, did that answer the question for you? So I need to know what the most significant events are in the recent past to derive levels off of them. Now, the tools are going to do that for me. I like to add a little bit of extra oomph there, as you saw me, put in volume profile. So for example, here's a chart of the NQ. And if you look back at it and you look at where I have these volume profile histograms starting, they're in the early part of May, right? These gray bars and the volume point of control. And I've got a couple other nested histograms in here that just show me how many contracts have traded by what price. I'm accounting for the most significant events in the recent past. And that might range between 2 weeks. It might range between 2 months, maybe a little more even sometimes. But I need to know what happened on the journey up to the highs, on the back test of where we launched, which is what happened on June the 11th. And then, of course, thereon after into this moment now. Scooby Trades, did that answer the question for you? You let me know. And Grim Reaper, you're saying you learned quite a bit today. Well, I hope that you did, and I hope that it is energizing, not overwhelming. Okay. Let's see if I can continue answering questions over here. Here we go. Okay, so this is a good question. This is from... I'm trying to get everyone's name straight here. So if I butcher your handle, I just apologies in advance if I'm butchering your handle, okay? some people have a handle, some people have their names in there. So right now I see Bootios 47 asked, partially what I was going to ask with volume, do you see it as added confluence as a basis to build short or long bias with exhaustion in either direction? When would you start looking to get in and consider a trend? Okay, so volume usually is bigger at the beginning of a turn, and then it starts to drop off as you're moving forward. So let's take an example of that, right? So right over here, we sold down. You can see the volume bars in the background over here. We sold down, had a reversal. You can see effectively a high watermark for the volume line. And as we rose, you can see volume coming down. That's normal, okay? That high volume mark can mark the beginning of a turn, high volume relative to the average. And we're dealing with a 1 minute chart over here. We were in a downtrend. We made a low. We made a slightly lower low. Volume started to dip. And then we turned and got above the speed lines. And I saw the normal, which is volume goes down as we have after the turn has happened. Those that needed to get out of the way they got the heck out of the way. Those that wanted to get into the trade and move up, they're in. Now, folks, I'm getting very close to the end of my time. I know I haven't answered all of the questions in here. There's a lot more. Oh, I see an aha from Bootios 47. You got an aha moment there. That's good. That's quite actually a lot of why I do what I do each day. Markets have been kind to me, and I trade better when I'm doing this. And of course, if I can share, I like sharing along the ride. There's so many pitfalls that traders can make along the ride, and there's so many opportunities everywhere. But if you can't quantify the risk and you're not comfortable taking a setup, it can become very challenging and very disheartening. And I want to make sure that you know that you have a great group of people supporting you here at Wealth Charts and FFF that really want to be able to give you constructive, useful insight and the tools to boot to make better decisions. So this takes me into the end of my time. And I think that, at this point, I'm going to have to say my apologies if I haven't answered questions. I'm going to go back and read through the chats and do my best to, bring some of the answers to the questions that were posed in tomorrow's session. We're going to do this again tomorrow morning, starting at 9:15. You folks, let me know. Do you have a good time this morning? Were you able to learn? Were you able to learn and earn? Share with me in the chat with a lucky number 7 in the chat if that was the case. And I'm going to bring my segments now to a close. So I'm seeing those lucky number 7 start to flow through the chat. That's amazing. And of course, to those of you that are listening in other places, I hope that you've enjoyed from the analytics, the live trading. We had some amazing trades this market morning, some in the mid triple digits with one contract on the NQ. And it went very well. And I'm looking forward to doing that again with you each day that we meet here. So folks, this is yours truly signing off for the market morning over here. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:15 a.m. Eastern time to do it all over again. Yes, again. All right, folks. Well, thank you for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day in markets. And I look forward to sharing more insight with you each time that we meet. Bye for now, all.